Now this is FV-103. It's actually called Spartan, and it was devised as the armoured personnel carrier for the CVR family.
Please remember to like, subscribe or click the little notification bell if you don't want to miss out on these videos. And I'd just like to say thank you to all our patrons for making this possible. Please join them if you can.
Now you might think an armoured personnel carrier of this size is really too small. It's designed to carry a crew of about 7, but that would include the driver, the commander up there in the cupola, and probably a third man, his wireless operator, sitting down beside him. And that leaves probably 4 men for the passengers in the APC. That would be 1 man sitting with his back to the door, looking down the vehicle, and the 3 fighting troops along the side, facing their weapons on the other side. Now, the reason is that this vehicle was designed to work with the Royal Armoured Corps, and therefore they didn't really need what would normally be, say, a 10-man section in an infantry vehicle like FV-432 or Warrior, for instance. They needed something smaller. The men would get out of here and they would deploy either in an ambush position or something similar when they're working away from the vehicle. If not, the vehicles are also used now and again to carry Royal Engineers. Now they would then dismount and go into action as engineers do, blowing things up and generally making a mess of everything. And that was another reason for Spartan's limited capacity for people. That's what it did in any case. It's basically one of the CVRs. Again, the driver's in the same position, with the same controls, driving through the front sprocket again, exactly the same. Again, it would have started out with the Jaguar engine and then replaced it later with the Cummins diesel, which is in this one. And that would be pretty well common to the whole of the CVR range with those sort of automotive packages in it. The body, it's just like in the other APC, except it has a roof hatch through which the men can stand up and fire their weapons, or it has a door so that they can dismount at the back. The door's smaller than you'll find in Sultan and Samaritan, but then of course the vehicle's lower anyway. But that's how it was done, and that was why it was done like that. The cupola is a much more sophisticated one than you've seen on some of the other vehicles, and it would normally come with a light machine gun fitted in on the side of it, which the crew can use, either the commander or his mate normally, in an emergency. But that's the only normal armament he carried. Now, these vehicles had a number of other multiple uses. One use was as a missile carrier for the Striker. That means it would carry about 4, maybe 5 missiles of the swing-fire sort in the body of the vehicle. Sometimes you see them with turrets on, and they carried various types of anti-tank missile. The most famous, I suppose, was the Milan, a European wire-guided anti-tank missile, which was fitted in a turret near the back of the vehicle, which carried 4 of these Milans. There was room inside the vehicle for a few more, but it carried 4 immediately for ready-made use, and converted Spartan into an armoured fighting vehicle for a while. You also found it had the capability to carry blowpipe, all of which were sort of the favourite in their day, but not for long, or what, which is a Franco-German missile, or TOW, which was an American wire-guided missile. They could all fit in this thing, and you'll notice they've altered the front configuration. A lot of small lockers, each one serving a purpose, but the vehicle otherwise has a minimal external stowage. It was all internal. Same smoke discharges as you've seen on other vehicles in the same family. But you still see them about. They're mainly doing circuits and bumps around Bovington Camp, but they're now driver training vehicles. It's quite an interesting vehicle all the same, even though, like all APCs, it's a box. But it does have a slightly bigger, wider as well, vehicle called Stormer, its sister, which carries an infantry section of 10 men, as against the 3 or 4 that you can get in here. It has 6 road wheels instead of 5. It has a Perkins diesel, a much more powerful engine in the front here. It's otherwise very much the same, only bigger, quite a bit bigger. They did plan to make a whole range of look-alike vehicles on the Stormer chassis. I think they made a flatbed one, which could also be altered to other things, but I think that was about all. They lost interest at that point and went on to, I think, big wheeled vehicles for the reconnaissance rather than these small track vehicles. But that was a feature of the time when these vehicles were popular. The Stormer was really more of an infantry vehicle. The one we've actually got, although it looks like an APC from the outside, was altered internally to provide the control facilities for Crazy Horse, which was merely a chieftain, which was operated by remote control. For the practice and anything else, it was the vehicle ran without a gun, which looked a bit odd, but that's how things were done, and that's what the Stormer was for. It was the control vehicle for Crazy Horse. And it's unique in that respect, but the stuff inside it is not typical at all. But that's the Spartan, this one, and its big sister or big brother, the Stormer.